What's going on, folks? And thanks for joining us on CN Live today. I'm Colion Noir, and we've got a full show today. So we're going to get a preview of some new guns from Century Arms, and we'll talk a little Black Guns Matter with Maj Toure. And former Miss Ohio Madison joins us to tell us about the new gun rights movement in Ohio following OSU's attack. Now that it's 2016 is winding down, all of the gun enthusiasts like me are getting excited for the new toys in 2017. Our first guest is marketing director for Century Arms, Jacob Herman. What's going on, Jacob?
Everything's good, man. How are you?
I'm good. You know, we're getting close to the end of the year. We're going to start the new year. I'm going to make a bunch of New Year's resolutions that I'm not going to keep within the first month. So, you know, same old, but good.
Getting ready for SHOT Show?
Definitely getting ready for SHOT Show. SHOT Show is always a beating for me. I think one of the little known secrets for a lot of people is that on the other side of the aisle, the SHOT Show is largely a beating for most of the vendors and the people there. I remember back in the days when I used to just be so thoroughly excited about going to SHOT Show. Now I'm just like, oh my gosh, how much sleep am I not going to get?
I understand completely. It's very long and very tiring.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. But man, you got some hot stuff cooking over there at Century Arms. Talk to me. What do you got in the works? Because I know it's going to be a pretty exciting SHOT Show for you guys as well.
It is going to be a very exciting SHOT Show, and we don't necessarily follow the normal like dropping the product at SHOT Show. We drop the Elite, the Canik TP9 SF Elite and Elite S. 2 weeks ago, we began shipping, and so they've been overwhelmingly popular. Everybody's been excited about it. We started giving hints and showing it to media people a couple of months ago, and everybody loves it. And so that's our big push next year is the Elite S. A couple more models, couple of surprises coming out, but those are that's the big news around here.
So let's talk about this, because I don't have very much in the way of experience with the TP9 series at all. So what was the kind of basis for basically coming out with the gun to begin with?
Well, when the TP9 started, it was, started being built overseas. And we started importing it slowly and saw that it started building a following among shooters. And it was really reasonably priced, and it worked really, really well. And then as that started growing, we started building the product line out. And we started with the original TP9. I don't know if you've ever seen one or know anybody that has one.
Yeah.
And did you say you have one?
I don't have one, but I have seen one. I actually got the handle one for a little bit, yeah.
And then we brought in the TP9 SA, which has the decocker on it. And that's a full military-grade pistol. It's in use all over the world. And it's got a lot of features on it that make it really, really reliable. Well, that started selling really well. And so as that business grew, we formed Canik USA, which is a partnership between the manufacturer and Century Arms here in America.
Okay.
And then we came out with the SF, which you're familiar with.
So the actual brand Canik actually was the chicken, not the egg.
It was the chicken.
Okay.
Yeah,
so I always had the impression that it was the egg, and then from there spawned the TP9 and all the other variations of pistols that they have under the brand.
They were already making pistols for military, police all over the world, and we just brought them to America.
Oh, okay. So now was the gun designed, well, at least from the TP standpoint, was it designed to go at the Glock? Because I'm pretty sure when you first dropped them and you started importing them into the country, I know a lot of people were kind of like, okay, this is clearly a Glock competitor. Was that the case initially, or was it just we're just going to build the best gun we could possibly build from the ground up?
That was how it happened. So when the Canik began building this gun, they had to meet very stringent military testing.
Okay.
And the Turkish government, the first contract they went after, upped the NATO specifications from the standard flat line that everybody builds to, and they upped the round count, the accuracy, how many rounds it had to fire. And so this gun was built from the ground up to meet a military contract. And it did, and it exceeded everyone's wildest expectations. It's fantastic. And so we just built on that. It wasn't to come out with a gun that competed or a gun that went after a certain market. It was just to build the best handgun that could be built for military and police. And we went and found that and then decided, hey, American shooters would love this as well.
Now, was there any reason why they decided that platform should be striker fired as opposed to, say, an exposed hammer?
It was designed from the ground up to meet that contract, and that contract was
okay. And then that requirement was for it to be striker.
Right.
Okay.
It was built for a military contract first, and the civilian sales came later.
Gotcha. Okay. Oh, and by the way, there's a drinking game going on for people to see how many times I can say gotcha. I found that out online earlier today. So I'm just gonna start trolling people. Gotcha. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So now with the TP9 SF Elite, what does that bring to the table that you don't necessarily get with the standard version?
Well, with the SA and the SF, they were built as full-size, duty-size weapons.
Okay.
18 rounds, a gun you would take in a holster, a military law enforcement, somebody would use that. Competes directly with a 226, a 17, a Beretta, something along that size.
Okay.
And while those have been really popular, especially among new shooters, all these shooters we've added them since in the past 8 years, the demand was for something a little more compact, a little more smaller. And this was when we really listened to our consumer. We really worked with the manufacturer over in Turkey. Our engineers and their engineers worked together to create a gun that was amazing for the American shooter here in the U.S.
Okay. So
that's how it came about, consumer demand.
Okay, so the consumers completely drove all of the changes, all of the upgrades, everything on the gun, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And we knew when we built it to the same specifications. It had to pass the same testing, the same specs as every other gun that comes out of the factory.
Uh-huh.
It was just built, driven by, hey, something needs to be a little smaller.
Okay, so now this gun essentially then was predicated on the idea of having a concealed carry gun, not so much duty. Or am I
Exactly.
I'm reading that the wrong right? That's the right?
You're reading it the complete right way. It's, when we look at a handgun and what a lot of people carry that carry a gun all the time, not deep concealment, not a uber subcompact, all these new terms. There's a certain size. It's about a 15 round handgun. That's what people like that carry a lot.
Yeah,
it's also for undercover police officers, et cetera. And that was the market we were going for with this pistol.
Okay. Now, what have you seen as far as the type of buyers that kind of gravitate towards the TP9? Because I know of course you have people who are kind of diehard loyalists. It's like, nope, they're going to people who are going to live and die with their Glock 19s, people who are going to live and die with their SIGs, so forth and so on.
Right.
What are you seeing in terms of the actual consumer base for the TP9? Is there anything in particular that you've noticed?
Well, a lot of people really enjoy the fact that it's used by over 20 militaries around the world.
Okay.
That really says something in really, really rough conditions. I mean, this handgun has passed military trials all over Africa, Asia, jungles, desert. People enjoy knowing that gun is that tough. But our consumer, when we first started going after shooters, we went after new shooters that aren't brand loyal, shooters that don't have preconceived ideas about this brand or that brand. They just want a good pistol.
Yeah.
They want a good pistol that works. They want a pistol that they're not paying for a name. They're paying for a reliable handgun, something that'll shoot well, that's easy to use, easy to take apart. And that's the market we went after.
Gotcha.
The millions and millions of Americans that have just started shooting the past 8 to 10 years.
Now, do you think, though, that the TP9 has the ability to maybe start converting people over, those guys who do consider themselves kind of brand loyalists? Now, I know some of us, because I tend to engage in that sometimes, and we're kind of moronic in that sense. Do you think that the TP9 has the makings to probably start converting people over time as it starts to really establish its reputation?
We've already seen people change over. A lot of industry guys, trainers that use really high round counts, they've changed over. At Tactical Response down at James Yeager's place, they now have TP9s in the rental program. The TP9 that makes it special is every barrel is machine match cut. It's a machine barrel from the factory, and it's a match cut barrel.
Now,
and so those barrels last for 60,000 rounds.
Okay, so that's what I wanted you to do, because I think for some people who are watching this who are kind of new to guns, like when you say match barrel, I understand the implications, but like just briefly go into like why that's a big deal in a handgun, especially one that you carry, for people who don't really quite understand and conceptualize the match barrel process.
You're right. A lot of people don't. They consider it something for like maybe a bullseye shooting match or a target match. It's just the gun is built so well that it's built to pass a NATO shooting standard, which means after X amount of tens and tens and tens of thousands of rounds, after all that barrel wear, it still has to pass shooting X number of bullets into a circle that's, I forget, it's several centimeters across.
Awesome. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about the other guns that you guys are actually more known for making, mainly the AK-47. And
Absolutely.
so we'll be right back.